Hi and welcome. I'm trying to learn space science today. Asteroids, meteorites, meteors and meteorites. And after we've done that, we're going to do median plane training. And if you participate in the median plane training, then it's a idea honest. Now this is part 4, 5, maybe even to the asteroids, meteorites, meteors and the meteorites. But now we know it all. And we also know what comets are and shooting stars. And now we want to do it as a presentation. Okay, what was it? Asteroids, these are larger rocks. They are mostly in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. So there's Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars and Jupiter, and then between this asteroid belt with all these asteroids mostly there. Meteorites, with D again, like asteroid, they are broken off pieces. These asteroids can bump together, and the meteorite is smaller. Asteroid is larger, the largest one known is 1,000 kilometers large, and meteors, they are smaller, just a few meters or centimeters, or even smaller. And sometimes an asteroid or meteorite can come into the atmosphere of Earth, and if it has entered there, it is a meteor. It's pushing like meteor through the atmosphere. And when it does that, it rubs against the air, and that causes friction, and it starts to heat up because of this friction, and it starts to burn, and it leaves its tail behind. Out of its burning tail, and it burns away most of meteors just glow away. And they're also called shooting stars because they leave that behind and people see it as shooting stars. But maybe I'm going to say it now, but I don't want to add to them. Because they look like stars from the Earth. It can look just like a star. We have on the size of a star now, where people think it looks like a star going away, but it's just a meteor, an asteroid or a meteorite just going away, and it's just burning away, so it leaves its tail behind. It's not a star, it's just a meteor or meteorite. It is a meteor, and it's an asteroid or a meteorite, additionally. But it's not a meteor. And when if such a meteor is a bit bigger, then it could hit the Earth, when the friction isn't enough to glow it all the way, to burn it up until it reaches Earth. And at the moment when it hits the Earth, then it is a meteorite, it leads a crater, it is a meteorite. And when there are comets are basically the same as asteroids, but they are not consisting like asteroids out of rocks, but out of ice, dust and ice. And I read something else of it since we made the last part. They are mostly there are theories that they are much further away. I read that we're going to do it sometime in one of the next parts. They are much further away, most of these comets, and they are traveling much farther away. They have more elliptical routes. So here's the Sun. The asteroids are more or less, I think, circling more or less in a circle, but these comets are having very elliptical routes. So a circle is round, and an ellipse is not round. An egg is almost an ellipse. An egg is an oval because it is at the bottom a bit thicker. Now a circle is round, an ellipse is like that. It's longer basically. It's not round, it is longer to one side. It's an ellipse. And an oval is like an egg. It is not completely shaped at all sides the right way. And now these comets, they have elliptical things, and that's why we're coming on the suddenly back. And there was the famous one is the Halley comet. That is predicted by William Halley, and that comes every 76 years. So the Earth needs 1 year to travel around the Sun, and this Halley comet, I don't know where it exactly travels around, but I think around the Sun, that comes every 76 years. And we're going to do it all in one course, but William Halley was taking, when he calculated that in the 18th century, I think it was the 17th century, he was going back in old books and looked what people had written down about there was a comet. We have seen something, and when he noticed, they are talking every time about the same thing, just 76 years apart. So he found some people writing about it in the 15th century, I guess, some people in the 16th century, 17th century, and when he noticed, we are talking all about the same comet. It's just one comet which comes back every 76 years. So it's far away in outer space, and just every 76 years it passes once close to Earth away. And he predicted that it would come back, and he said, that comet, it comes every 76 years, so I know it will come again in 2, 3, 5 years, whatever it was. And actually it came back, and it was now called, in honor of him, the Halley comet. Now what is a comet? It consists out of dust and ice. And comets are mostly believed to be far out in space, as the asteroids between Mars and Jupiter. And I didn't really get it. They named 2 causes why we have these things. Okay, that's too complicated. I didn't get it. I think we don't even get it when we read it. And now this comet's coming, and they are leaving when the ice of it melts and becomes a vapor, and they're leaving this tail, which is called coma. The tail is called coma, C-O-M-A, behind. And now these are comets. Not to be confused with meteors. No, and now we're trying to make it short and just try to say these 5 things. Meteorite, meteorite, asteroid, asteroid, meteorite, meteor, meteorite, and the meteors are also called shooting stars, and they're also comets. Comets are not like asteroids out of rock, but they had an idea that it was when they were formed later or closer to the sun. We are further away from the sun. That's why it's happening so little so we see. That's why it happens so little that we are seen, because we're further out in space. And these comets are also traveling in big elliptical ellipses around the sun, but they don't consist like asteroids out of rock, but out of dust and ice. And they're leaving also this tail behind them called comet. Let's try to say it. I'm going to start the camera. And let's try to make a video. It's according to Isabel Thomas Outward. Let's read. Meteoroid, Meteor, Meteorite. Asteroids with D are larger rocks, and they are mostly in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. So the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and Jupiter, and then between there are lots of asteroids, larger rocks flying around in the asteroid belt. And they can bump together, and then they are creating smaller meteorites. So asteroid, the bigger one, and meteorite, the smaller one. And now if such an asteroid or meteorite, the smaller ones, asteroid big, meteorite smaller, happens to come into the atmosphere of Earth, they are called meteors, just because they're now in there. And when they are in the atmosphere of Earth, they are getting friction against the air. And that causes them to burn and burn away. Most of them if they're a bit smaller, and they leave a tail behind, so some people call them also shooting stars. So meteors, shooting stars. And if such a meteor happens to hit the Earth and leaves a crater, it is a meteorite. A crater doesn't leave. There are also comets. Comets are not like asteroids out of rock, but comets are out of ice and dust. And they are traveling in big elliptical ellipses around the sun. So asteroid, bigger one, mostly in the asteroid belt. Then smaller one, meteorite. If they happen to come into the atmosphere of Earth, meteor or shooting star. If they hit the ground, meteorite. And that is according to Isabel Thomas, Out of This World, page 25. I'm going to stop the camera. And that was the part 2 space science. Now, if you were here for space science and you're still interested in space science, you can go directly to the next part of space science. We will continue with space science. We will do now the medium plane training. If you stay and participate in the medium plane training, then it's very focused. We bring one leg up and we bring the foot up and down, we could eating a mushroom. Now the other leg up and bring the foot up and down. And now to the first exercise. We bring one leg up and we're pressing with the hand against the top of the knee. Right angle with the leg, flex foot, even line tips, taller with the back, little bend in the elbow. And we're changing the leg. And press again from the top against the knee. And change. Next exercise. Now we're pressing from the inside against the knee, slash and backslash. Right angle with the leg, flex foot, even line tips, taller with the back, little bend in the elbow. Now we are running up, and we're pressing here in the same manner. Even line hips taller with the back and bend and elbow. And the next exercise. I think we skipped one. We're pressing with the knee up to the side, up to the side. And with your knee up, and we're pressing with the knee up to the side. And the last exercise, the heavy swing row. Knee up, and we're pressing from the outside against the knee, and we're opening slowly. Even on tips start off of the back a little bit in the middle. And we're closing again slowly. And again. And we close again slowly. And a third time. Third and final time. And now with the other knee up. And press on the outside. And up slowly. And close again. And the third and final time. No. And let's walk up in the middle. And we're trying to get the legs wide apart. Breathe in. Out. In. Out. Last round. Breathe in. Out. Breathe in. Close my legs. And breathe out. That was the medium plane training. I think it very much, and until next time.